Charles I, the king who is infamously known for being the first king publicly beheaded. He created tension in the society due to his strict rules, despite making peace with Spain. He plunged his country to a civil war. He appointed a ludicrous archbishop who locked up Puritans. But what led to his downfall, and what events caused his execution? Charles was born in Dunfermline Abbey, Fife, Scotland, in 1600. When Charles was only 2, he had to witness one of the most saddest things to happen. Charles' older sibling, Henry Frederick, died due to an unknown disease. Since that time, Charles has suffered misery and despair. In May of 1625, Charles I married Queen Henrietta Maria. She was the youngest daughter of King Henry IV of France. She was Catholic and was not accepted to be crowned in the Anglican service. The couple had 10 children, 6 of whom survived to adulthood. Since the Queen was Roman Catholic, the citizens of England, Scotland, and Ireland hated the new king. King Charles was a devoted dad and adored his children. In 1623, before he ascended the throne, Charles first began to make strong relationships with Spain. Duke of Buckingham, who was James I's favorite advisor, accompanied Charles. He, along with Charles, set a marriage treaty with Spain. The public distrusts Buckingham because he is influencing the king's decision too much. War happened because of Buckingham's arrogance. The Spanish War was a failure because of Buckingham. Parliament disagrees with Charles since the majority of Parliament have different beliefs than Charles. Most of Parliament did not stress prayer books unlike Charles. In March 1625, King Charles was coronated. Puritans took it as far as moving to America so that they can have religious freedom. Believed in the divine rights of monarchs, which means that he is the highest authority and nobody can question him. This developed resistance in the society against Charles. In 1626, a member of Parliament called for Buckingham's impeachment. Charles's response to this was to dissolve Parliament to save Buckingham. Soon, Buckingham called for a war against France and Spain. When Buckingham landed on French soil, he realized that the scaling ladders he had brought were 15 feet short. This prevented him from getting to La Rochelle, and he lost the government millions of pounds of money. Disappointed, Buckingham returned to London to find that Parliament and the people were protesting against him. On the fateful night of August 18th, 1626, Buckingham was stabbed brutally by an army officer. Charles had enough of this. He had ordered the punishment of the member of Parliament who claimed that Buckingham should be impeached. Charles dissolved Parliament once again and never allowed them to assemble. Parliament was unhappy with Charles over the execution of the 30 Years' War, so Parliament refused to lend any more money. But Charles needed the money so badly. He taxed the people of England heavily to get money. He also used an ancient form of collecting money called ship money, which collected taxes on people who live in the coast of England. Parliament responded by declaring Charles's actions against the UK illegal. Charles then imprisoned knights and gentlemen who refused to contribute to the war. Because of this, Parliament forced King Charles to sign the Petition of Rights in order to make the people of England, Scotland, and Ireland happy. King Charles is denied any funds by Parliament because of his unjust ways of making money. After all of these events, however, Charles still caused civil uprisings due to his new appointee of Archbishop of England, William Laud, which enforced a prayer book on everyone who lived under Charles's rule. The population was outraged at this new prayer book. There was a saying back then that, quote unquote, give great praise to the Lord and little laud to the devil, which symbolizes the English hatred for William Laud. Finances were running smoothly, for a couple of years until the Scottish rebellion in the north had reached the boiling point. In London, one member of Parliament forced Charles to sign another document declaring his intentions not to rule once again. In response to this, Charles has refused and imprisoned 5 members of Parliament. Charles wanted his children and his wife to be safe and get help. Back in France, Henrietta Maria pawns jewels in order to buy arms for the royalists. Meanwhile, William Laud forced a new prayer book on Scotland. This enraged the Scots and parliamentarians, causing the Scots to invade northern England. The government tensions raised even higher as who should command the army in Ireland to suppress the uprising there. This was the start to the Civil War. Scots were moving up really quickly into England. Parliament issued the 19 propositions afterward, which told the king to recognize the judges, military matter, and the church come down to Parliament. Later in 1645, parliamentarians beat the royalists in a 3-hour battle, which was known as the Battle of Naseby, which was a decisive victory for the parliamentarian troops. As response to this, Charles ran away from England and escaped to the Isle of Wight. While this was happening, a rising soldier in the parliamentarian army, Oliver Cromwell, wanted to eliminate King Charles's authoritarian rule ever since he heired to the throne. So he has devised a plan along with the House of Commons and other soldiers of high rank to create the new model army. This new and powerful army wanted to bring Charles to justice. The new model army was led to Charles I, who was brought into custody. Charles's trial began in 1648. The judges kept on asking Charles to testify, but he wouldn't. For some days, the strategy made him hold his ground until the judges and the jury convicted him of high treason. On January 30th, 1649, Charles was executed in the Palace of Whitehall, London, England, being the first ever English monarch to be executed. Years after Charles has been executed, Charles was canonized, quote-unquote, Charles the Martyr, in 1660 because of his everlasting impact on England and its people. He has showed us what the consequences of self-ruling are. This influenced the creation of the U.S. Constitution and many more documents to come.